What's the most messed up dream you've ever had? I once had a tragic dream. I was sending my son off to college. We were in the car, hugging and crying because he was finally moving away for good. It was weird because I was probably 16 years old at the time and my son was a seal with the arms of a black man. I loved that boy. When I was around 11 or 12 I had a dream that my grandpa was a Terminator and was trying to kill me. I don't remember much of the dream except for when my bike got a flat tire so I threw it off a bridge and it exploded for some reason. Michael Bay directed your dreams? It would appear so. I had a wet dream where I fed a crocodile. Keep in mind that consciously I am not the least bit attracted to crocodiles. I had a dream when I was a kid where I went to a physical therapy session in this dimly lit place that looked like an operating room. Once I got in, this creepy guy laid me back on the table, cut open the top of my head, and proceeded to dip chunks of my brain in ranch dressing and eat them, all while I was awake and screaming. Similar, when I was about 5 I dreamt that I was kidnapped. I was scared at first but grew to love my kidnapper because he taught me how to vomit my organs and eat them with a fork and knife so they would fall back into place within my body. I could be completely self-sustaining for the rest of my life. One time I had a dream where Amy and this guy I met at the laundromat had to chase Jimi Hendrix through time. We had to stop him from giving acid to a caveman and playing Purple Rain in Victorian England. It was all because of magic tie-dye t-shirt we found at the laundromat. Sometimes when you sleep, you get these dreams so vivid in nature that are so much like reality. Well, my most effed up dream was one of those. I had this dream where I thought I had woken up whilst I was actually still sleeping. So I went out of my room to get to the toilet without bothering to turn on the lights of the hall since I can basically walk through my house with my eyes closed. Anyway, it's dark and I walk down the stairs and once I reach the bottom of the stairs I notice something staring at me from the living room. As you can imagine I was scared shitless yet I still remained in my dream. Without realizing it was a dream. And I didn't know what to do. I was in this frozen terror state. I got a really good look at what was staring at me and it looked like one of those aliens things from the movie Signs. Then suddenly, it started running towards me and I grabbed a vase, backed up into a corner and screamed at the top of my lungs. That's when I woke up back in my bed lying in my sweat and with my heart beating like crazy. So I think what the F, and because of still being in a somewhat panic state I turn on the light in my room and look around. Nothing to see and all is good so I turn off the light again and try to fall asleep. But then I suddenly feel something jump right on top of me and I'm unable to move. It's the effing thing from my dream again staring right at me, getting closer and closer to my face, and I'm unable to move and unable to scream. So that's when I woke up, and this time for real. I was so effed up because of waking up 2 times in my dream that I wasn't even sure I was really awake the 3rd time. The real waking up. So I immediately got out of my bed with my heart beating like crazy. I turned on all the lights in my room and just sat on my bed for a while. I pinched myself and even punched myself in my stomach to see if it was real or not. Then I looked at the alarm clock and noticed it was just 1 effing AM. I decided F this, I'm not going to sleep tonight, and turned on my PC and just toughed it out until the sun began to shine. I was practically a zombie the entire day after. Since then I only had one of those dreams again and it's been almost a year without them. So that was my most effed up dream. I helped a pack of English speaking lions break into vehicles stuck on the highway during rush hour traffic. I had a nail gun with me that I used to shoot people through the shoulders with, therefore pinning them to their chairs in their vehicles, which helped the lions in their quest for meat. I think I was about 10 or so at the time when I had this dream. I'm 29 now but it always stuck with me for some reason. Please note I do not own a nail gun and I have never spoken to lion. Woke up on a spaceship going to Mars. Everything was white. White walls, white doors, white hallways, white clothes. I was wearing a white wig and white gloves. You get the gist. Anyhow, as I explore the ship, I notice I am alone. Minutes becomes hours. Hours become days. I am never hungry, never tired, just alone. I explore and search and yell and panic and deny and exasperate, but I am alone. And then I find a huge pillow-sized strawberry. The dream then ends with me hugging the strawberry for eternity. I was driving a boat and along came Chewbacca on a jet ski wearing only his fur and a big Hispanic colored strap on. He yelled at me in his Wookiee language and then jumped off the jet ski and made passionate love to a dolphin. When the waves went over his face, he'd gasp for air and then say only one sentence in perfect English. Tell Jeff Goldblum his walkie-talkie is in my A. Quite frequently between the ages of 8 to 12, I would dream that I was a pig running through a jungle being chased by a T-Rex, and I knew it was a dream but I had to find a secret door to escape. I have never found the door. Dream 1. A friend of mine had died in a car wreck in real life earlier that year. I had a dream where he came and sat next to me at church. I say, "What have you been up to, man?" His voice goes scary satanic deep and says, "You know." Then the dream turns to just black and white static, then to black silence. Dream 2. When I was about 10, I had a dream that Michael Jordan shot and killed my brother. Then MJ turned into a black widow spider. In real life, my brother sees MJ at work sometimes now, so I worry for his safety. Dream 3. 2 nights ago I had a dream that there were some crazy gunmen with creepy Mike Myers type masks shooting up the neighborhood. I hide out in a stranger's house. Then they all start banging on the windows with their guns and machetes trying to attack us. One time I had a horribly graphic sex dream about Freddy Krueger. I was minding my own business in my room when in walks some buff version of Mr. Krueger and he says sex time. I said fine, but only if he took off his knife hands, and the next thing I know we were having sex in my sister's bed. It made me think differently of myself for a while. I was an officer in this future war in the Middle East. As soon as I landed, bullets started flying all around. I had to regroup my men, but when I looked around me, there was only cats dressed in combat fatigues. That's when things started to get hairy. Mine isn't scary, it was actually kind of nice. It was a reoccurring dream. When I was young I had a golden retriever. She was the sweetest, nicest dog in the world. When we put her down I was devastated. I ran upstairs, hid under some blankets and bawled. Soon after I started having a dream that involved me laying in my bed and I would hear the door open up and she would walk in. She would come to my bedside and start tickling me and I would laugh hysterically and pet her. Every time I would laugh a little bit less until I didn't laugh at all. That was the last time I ever had that dream. When my cat was diagnosed with cancer, I started having dreams about losing her, not her dying, but me literally losing her. And then when she died I started having dreams where she'd be with another family, but it was okay because she was still alive and that was all that mattered. And that I'd gotten to see her one last time. Stupid fur faces wriggling themselves into our hearts sniff. I had a candidate for the most effed up title last night. In fact, I dreamed that there was an artist who sculpted cumulus clouds into gigantic human figures, except they weren't celebrities or historical figures or anything. Just expressionless, generic people with their lips slightly parted. I was hired as a security detail for one of the artist's works, which meant that I had to sit on a small platform 20,000 feet in the air next to this insipid, ominous cloud statue. The only thing securing me to the platform was a safety harness that looked like it was purchased at Kmart, and the platform was constantly swaying in the wind. I could see nothing around me but the relentless blow of the sky and the statue's massive indifferent face being altered slightly by the currents of air. It was horrifying. When I woke up, I fully understood what George R.R. Martin was getting at when he wrote about the sky cells of the Arya in a Game of Thrones. Guys, this is not made up bullshit to gain karma. This is actually what happened. I was dreaming that I was getting a blowjob by this woman. I don't know who the woman is. I just remember her looking like she was worked on. Anyways, I was viewing the dream from a different angle, like looking towards her from my right hip, and I was watching, when all of a sudden, she grabs my balls and dick, and pulls it, not enough to pull it out of my body, but enough to get it away from my hips. She then started sucking my balls, but once she got them in her mouth, she tucked them in her bottom lip, then effing tore her face off with my balls. It was so surreal, like the entire face was being pulled. There was immediate blood. It was so bad. It has actually scarred me. This is what prompted me to ask you guys what you have dreamed about, to see if there has to be something worse than this dream. For years I've had a recurring nightmare so frequently that I know it's a dream every time it's happening, but I can't do anything about the storyline or the fear or the realness of it. From a hallway which stretches into the distance as far as the eye can see, kind of like the hallway in the Matrix, I enter a room in which everything, The furniture, the walls, floor, ceiling, everything is covered in a crazy variety of patterns in black and white, stripes and houndstooth and plaid and checkers and fractals and polka dots. Confused as to why I am there and why it looks like it does. I sit down on a couch. Eventually I notice some of the patterns on the couch are moving. Slowly, and then it hits me. I realize that the couch isn't moving. It's a terrifying person on the couch, with paper white skin and clothes in crazy black and white patterns, starting to stand up, looking straight at me. He's been there the whole time but was camouflaged. I flip out and try to find the door, but I can't find it because it too is camouflaged with the wall. The man has stood up fully by now. He is facing me. He towers over me. His skin is white as snow with blue veins showing through. His eyes look straight into mine. I effing hate this dream.